thank you so much for taking time out of your evening today to come to the County Commissioner Candidate Forum, hosted by none other than the Dawson County Chamber of Commerce and our Advocacy Committee. We at the Chamber are committed to helping the community gather information and share with the community so that they can cast their vote for their desired candidate who matches their ideals. Tonight we have 3 candidates. Our first candidate is running as the sole candidate for District 1, Seth Stowers. For District 3, we have 2 candidates running for this open seat, and that is Alexa Bruce and Deanna Dickinson. The format of this forum is as follows. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves, 2 minutes to respond to each one of our questions. There are 10 questions, and 2 minutes for closing statement. Candidates have not seen these questions. Our candidates are seated in district order, then in alphabetical order by last name. Opening statements will also be given in this order, and then each following question will be answered by the next candidate in alphabetical order. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. Our timekeepers are Savannah Garrick and Brenda Mason. Savannah will hold up warning signs when you have 1 minute left, 30 seconds left, 15 seconds left, and when your time has expired. Once your time has expired, please cease any comment. We will hold and strictly enforce this time limit. Please hold your applause until the very end of our candidate forum. We will begin with opening statements. You each have 3 minutes, and we are going to begin with Seth Stowers.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Seth Stowers. I'm a 30-year resident of Dawson County, born and raised here. My family's been here for a long time. My father's kind of family name has been here, so Stowers, Burt, Gobers, those family names have been here for a long time. I've been here my whole life. I went to school here. The only time that I've ever spent really any time outside of Dawson County is when I was in vet school and then when I was an undergrad. So I am currently a large animal veterinarian servicing the North Georgia area. I travel about an 80-mile radius from Dawson County. So we go pretty much from Alabama line to the Tennessee line all the way over to about Athens. And I also own and operate a small cattle farm here in the county. So I'm very passionate about agriculture and everything that entails, not only in the raising of food agriculture, but also all the other areas, the agritourism and stuff like that, which most of that in Dawson County is in District 1. So I decided to do this because I'm very passionate about the county. I can remember back when I was in high school and middle school and elementary school and seeing the county grow. I can kind of remember, I was talking to Ms. Power yesterday about how I can still remember when it was basically McDonald's, Ingalls, and Revco at 400. And then seeing the progression of that as the Hardys came, as the Zaxby's came, as the Outlet Mall came. And I can kind of remember the progression of that. And then in high school thinking back, man, there's really nothing to do here. We did add the movie theater at some point in time in there, but as kids we were always like, man, there's really nothing to do here. But then I decided while I was in vet school, I was going to go to other parts of the country and I was going to learn more about large animal medicine. So I spent some time in Texas, and then I spent some time in Nebraska, some time in Montana, and then I really learned how good we have it here. Because you want to drive an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to the closest Walmart, that's when you realize how blessed Dawson County is. So I'm running, in essence, to keep this county beautiful. It's beautiful the way we have it. I'm very passionate about the agriculture on the north end of the county. And so that's why I decided to run for this District 1 office.
So I'm going to read, because I'm a talker and will totally go over that 3-minute mark. So like Mandy said, my name is Alexa Bruce and I'm running for District 3 Commissioner here in Dawson County. I've been here for 25 years, since I was 10 years old. I'm a graduate of Dawson County High School as well as like Seth. And I attended Georgia Southern University and the University of Georgia, majoring in psychology and sociology. I live with my husband and my child at Harmony Church Road. Bart, my husband, comes from generations of Bruces here in Dawson County, although he warned me that may not be a good thing, so maybe not to mention it. My daughter, Avit, who is 6 and attends Kylo Elementary. We proudly serve as members at Cornerstone Christian Church here in Dawsonville. I also serve on Rotary, a recent member of the local Republican Party, and previous lead shopper for Care for Kids. I'm here today because I see you all and I hear you. I'm one of you. I'm a longtime resident, I'm a former county employee, and this community is more than just my home. It's a place that I take pride in, and as you should take pride in as well. A place that deserves someone who won't minimize its integrity or the integrity of its people. I'm passionate in my desire to make our community the best and safest place to live for our citizens and future generations. I believe in growth the right way, being proactive versus reactive. It's super important that we preserve our parks and farmland, just as Seth said, to enhance the beauty that our county is known for. Lastly, let's give our small business owners a place to flourish. They drive the success and advancement of our county, providing jobs and innovation, and a sense of community. This could be a real true work, live, play community if we can get back to this. As I've said multiple times already in this campaign, we need to take it back to the basics. What makes quality of life matter? Remembering why we choose Dawson County as our home, customer service, communication, and me being available to you. These are absolutely promises that I can make to you as your public servant. Thank you.
I want to say one thing too. Thank you, Billy and Sharon, for being here tonight. It's important for us to see that. Okay, my three minutes. Can I start? Can you start it a minute later?
They're the rules. Okay. I think we'll allow that. Ready, set, go.
Good evening, and thank you very much for being here tonight. My name is Deanna Dickinson, and I'm running for Dawson County Commissioner, District 3. I believe it's very important for the taxpayers and voters in any election to understand the candidate's stance on matters that will affect them. Please don't just check the box for a familiar name. Please make sure your candidate is qualified. I am confident that I am uniquely qualified to help manage our county as your commissioner as a result of my life experiences in Georgia. I am a wife, a mother of 2 adult daughters, and we now have a precious granddaughter. I was extremely involved with both my daughter's education, serving as PTA president in 2 different schools. On the school council advisory board, I coached YBOA, AAU girls basketball for several years. I taught Sunday school at County Line Baptist Church for many years as well. I was raised in a conservative household by lifelong Republican parents. I have been an active member of the Republican Party in Georgia for decades. After moving to Dawson County a number of years ago, my husband and I joined the Dawson County Republican Party. I represented Dawson County last year as a delegate for the 9th District with the GOP at Jekyll Island, where we voted on many conservative matters to send to our legislature. I have served in the dental industry for 40 years as a CDA, an office manager, and a dental sales consultant, calling on over 200 dental practices in Georgia and driving over 35,000 miles per year. I currently own my own business, Team DMD Consulting, helping dentists buy, sell, build, and efficiently manage their private practices. I've advised on over 25 practice construction build-outs. I also hold a Georgia commercial real estate license specializing with medical and dental practices. In Douglas County, where I spent the first 48 years of my life, we saw unplanned, overdeveloped, and improper infrastructure. I say this because just over the last few years in Dawson County, there has been an explosion of new units, fast food restaurants, and of course the traffic that goes with it. Are we planning ahead for this type of rapid development? Do we have the infrastructure to handle this type of growth? Let me answer. We have no hospital. We have 3 ambulances. We are short on firefighters and law enforcement officers. We need teachers in our schools, and with all this building, we will need more schools within a few years. We all have an investment here in Dawson County. We don't want to stop progress, but we certainly owe it to ourselves to be informed and to help manage our growth for a positive outcome for many generations to come. I want to be your District 3 Commissioner, and I am here tonight to humbly ask for your vote.
Great job. All right, Alexa, you will start the next question.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. All right, so question 1. There are many components that go into being a Dawson County Commissioner, including but not limited to creation of policy, management of county assets, including staff, setting taxation, establishing and managing a budget, protection of citizens' health, safety, and welfare, and planning for the future public needs. We will touch on many of these tonight in our question, but first, should you be elected, what is your plan to educate yourself on the process and procedures that a commissioner must adhere to by law, and how will you go about accomplishing this?
So I think the first thing is ACCG, and for those that aren't familiar, it's Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. They partner with the Carl Vinson Institute of Government through UGA to put you through a certification class to certify you as a county commissioner. I think that would be the first step. I know that anyone that is a newly elected commissioner would go to that. It's required so that you can better learn policy, so that you can understand the laws and the mandates that are required of you as a commissioner in your own county. I think another important facet of that, beyond what is required of you, is to meet with your constituents, to meet with your with not just yours in my district, so not just the people in District 3, but the people, citizens across in Seth's district, District 1, District 2, District 4, as well as meeting with, she mentioned budget, meeting with all of the other elected officials. So even those people are elected, you still determine their budget. You still vote on their budget. And it's important that you understand that their role in the county, such as the sheriff, the tax commissioner, those are some of the roles that are elected officials, but you control their budget and you control what is given to them. So to understand their role is a big responsibility, and to know that is to be able to accommodate them correctly, fiscally responsibly.
Perfect. All right, next.
Saw that time go up.
I'm sorry, you got 30 seconds if you want it.
Don't.
All right, Deanna, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I think one of the things that I've already been doing, just because I wanted to make sure in regards to what the issues were in Dawson County, I have pretty much interviewed everybody that I possibly could in leadership position throughout the county, except for the sheriff, and I did talk to him about setting up a date with him to talk about different issues that are going on. I feel like it's a process. I've heard that the city and county are not working together. That's a huge problem when a lot of what the county does in reference to, I mentioned the 3 ambulances. If the city is bringing in a lot more housing, but yet the county is in charge of the ambulances and actually making sure that those things, the process of taking care of the citizens, I actually believe that that is a problem that the two need to work together. That would be what I would see, that as far as training, we would sit down and look over the process. There's also, as a new commissioner, there's the week of training, November the 29th through December 5th. So we would actually sit down and go over my role as a commissioner here in Dawson County. But it's very important to me to work on the process of all the things that you need to do in reference to a commissioner, and also listen to your constituents.
Thank you.
So as both of them have mentioned, of course, the commissioner certification process that's done in Athens, but to me, and both of them kind of hit on it a little bit, but to me the most important part about learning more about my job and how to do my job and all the rules and regulations is connections. Connections are crucial. Anybody in this room can ask Sharon Fawcett how many times I've called her over the last 2 years when I hear something that I'm curious about. May not really know the full meaning or the full extent of what is being brought up in front of the commission, but those connections, the previous commissioners that I know that I can call and talk to, call upon, constituents who have been here for years and seen how the rules and regulations have changed. And, those connections are what help you understand. And I kind of lean back on my veterinarian profession. I'm not going to know everything whenever I step into office. It's virtually impossible. But whenever I get out on a call and I see something that I don't know or I'm not really sure about, I'll be the first person to be upfront and honest and say, hey, I don't really know, but I know somebody who can help me answer that question, or I know somebody who's an expert in that area. And so having connections with people in and around the community that I can call upon if I have any questions or if I want further knowledge on a certain area, I feel like that's the most crucial thing for me to help learn more about what my job is and how to do it properly.
Perfect. You all did very well with the time, but I'm just going to remind you there are 2 minutes for the questions and for the closing. So, question 2, understanding the county budget is vital to the role as a commissioner. Tell us what experience you have had in preparing, managing, and authorizing a budget. Also tell us the biggest budget challenges you feel the county is facing as a whole, and how would you address them? We'll begin with Deanna Dickinson.
Thank you. So budgets, I've been working with dentists, like I said, for many years. One of the main things with dentists is helping them set their budget, profit loss, going over their EBITDA, making sure that everything throughout the practice is in place so that they can continue to work and hire the people that they need to hire. In reference to the county budget, I've actually spoke to several people in reference to that. The general fund, how much money we actually need to keep in place, which was 17%. And I'm like, well, do we have 17% in the general fund? So I've even gone out and asked, how much does the ambulance cost that we need? $400,000. How are we going to get that? Impact fees. Impact fees are extremely important. Again, I said the city was not setting impact fees. We need to make sure we have proper process of impact fees that are set up in order to make sure that our budget is in place for the county. We can't continue to grow and not have developers pay when they come into the county. It's extremely important.
So much like Deanna, owning your own business comes with its ups and downs for sure. But budget is one of those. At the end of the day, you have to have more money coming in or you're going into the hole and your business may not be successful. Another aspect that comes into play that gives what I feel like a hand up when it comes to budget is when I graduated vet school, I had over $200,000 in student loans. So I owned a house payment essentially without owning a house. And that's a daunting task for somebody who's 28 years old and ready to start their own business. If it was not for budgets, I would not be in the same place that I am today. And while the county budget is a lot bigger than my own budget, I have had to learn where to pinch pennies and where the expense is needed. I mean, when I go get syringes for my business, I don't want to get the cheap ones because I know how efficient the more expensive ones work. But in the same breath, I know where I can cut $1 here or $1 there to make that budget expand a little bit. And as far as for the county and where I feel like the most important part of the budget is, I think it's trying to keep up with the growth. So we have some roads and bridges in the county that need upgrading. And so trying to use our budget in order to make those things happen. Emergency services is very important to me because you don't really think about needing emergency services or how important and crucial that is to a community until you're in need. And so I'm very passionate about that and ensuring that we keep the best police officers, firefighters that we can with the best equipment possible.
Much like Deanna, I have spoken to a lot of the elected officials, a lot of the department heads, and we run our county runs a very conservative budget already. They're very good at spending, they're very good at saving, and they're very good about priorities. I think it's important that we recognize where all of our funding can come from. So, you know, for the Sheriff's Department, SPLOST pays for a lot of their vehicles. Sheriff Johnson said that we're really in a good place, other than we will always need staff. Emergency services, same. We're in a good place. We have 4 ambulances currently, with 1 in reserve that can be pulled out at any point. We have 2 ambulances that'll be here in June, and we have 2 more that'll be here in another year. The problem is, it's not that we don't have the funding. SPLOST is funding those vehicles and equipment. The issue is everything is backed up due to COVID. But we know what we need in this county. Our current commission and the 3 of us sitting right here, we know what we need. It's a matter of using the budget and prioritizing, knowing where different budgets come from. We have impact fees, we have SPLOST, we have LMIG for roads. We can use the developers that are coming in as a means to pay for some of these intersection improvements, for road resurfacing, for road widening. If you know the business of the county, then you can accommodate the budget that you have in order to give to the citizens what is needed for safety, for park and rec, for sheriff's department, etc.
Elected, what goal or goals are you planning to accomplish?
Ooh, that is a very good question.
Thank you.
You know, as far as goals go, I didn't really mention it in my opening statement, but my son was born Thanksgiving Day, and I kind of hit upon seeing how the county changed as I grew, seeing it go from the Revco and the McDonald's and the Ingles to seeing it kind of grow to have a lot more of your Zaxby's and your outlet mall and Walmart and the Home Depot, and it's great to be able to run down and get that whenever you need it and not have to, like when I was in Nebraska, drive an hour and a half to get to the closest Walmart. But my goal is I want to be able for my son to grow up in a community that I look at as, no matter where I went, Dawson County was still the prettiest place that I'd ever been. Now, obviously, I had a connection here because my family was here and I had ties to this community, but no matter where I went, I was always drawn back. While I was in vet school, I really was like, I don't know that I'll ever go back to Dawson County because I really wanted to work with cattle specifically, and I knew that Dawson County in and of itself did not have as much cattle as areas like out west and even in North Georgia. But the beauty of this county, where you can go to Amicalola Falls, where you can go to Dawson Forest if you want to ride a horse, where you can go see the sunflower farm, where you can go to Burt's Pumpkin Farm and get your pumpkins or your strawberries, but yet you can drive 15 minutes and still be to anything that you would need outside of a hospital. But we're getting the new one at Dahlonega. We have the one in Cumming. There's the one in Gainesville. So there's so many resources around us, but we still have the beauty of the environment. And so my goal is to help preserve that during my term.
Do you mind asking it again?
Sure.
So I can hear the whole question.
If elected, what goal or goals are you hoping to accomplish?
Okay. So I have a couple. One of mine is growth the right way. I come from the roads department. I worked in public works for Dawson County, and I believe in the infrastructure is really what this county needs. We need to be proactive, like I said, instead of reactive. And we need to, if we're going to continue to develop out the 400 corridor, as I inevitably see is going to continue to happen, we need to make sure that we have our infrastructure in place for future growth. And that would be using SPLOST and LMIG, which are directly, those are funds. LMIG is local maintenance improvement grant, but those are funding specifically for the roads department that can expand infrastructure. And again, we can use those developers to accommodate the improvements that we need that wouldn't cost our taxpayers dollars. Another one is our small business, to continue to grow that, because again, give them a community that they can flourish in, so that they can help us, so that we can build our community, which is, we all go back to, this is our small town, this is our community where quality of life matters. Well, it's kind of a catch-22, unfortunately, because quality of life brings people. People want quality of life. So when they come to a county that's beautiful, it means we're doing it right. That's why we're seeing growth. People want to come here because we are doing things right here. That's a good thing. We should all pat ourselves on the back for it, because this is somewhere that people want to come here and thrive just as they see that we are. So my goal is to help those small businesses flourish, to get infrastructure where it should be for the growth. And along with Seth, I want to make sure that we preserve the parks that we have here, as well as potentially getting more park and rec. We're about to bust at the seams with ours, so getting one maybe at the 400 corridor I think would be helpful for our community and especially our children. Thank you.
So one of my big goals would be is, again, the process. I would sit back, number one, I wouldn't take office until January 1st, 2023. So in that time, once I took office, I would want to sit down with the other commissioners and the other leaders in the county, actually understand exactly where we are. One of the things we haven't brought up here is our economy and the possible recession that we may be going through. I want to make sure, and by January, we may be able to see a little bit more of that. So I would want to make sure where our county actually stands at that point. That would be an extreme importance for me, to make sure we are where we need to be. The other thing is, we have so much growth going on right now. I would probably ask that the commissioners vote on a moratorium. I just feel like we need to back up. Our infrastructure needs to be put in place. Our roads, our schools, our EMS, it's very important. I did speak with the fire chief yesterday. In regards to ambulances, we only have 3. But understand that when our ambulances leave the county, they could be gone 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. They're not going directly to a hospital because we don't have one. So those are the things that are very important to me: safety and concern for the citizens of Dawson County.
Question 4. We've all mentioned it here tonight, but we all know that we are experiencing growth, and I hope that you all have reached out for the Development Authority. We have a strategic plan that the Development Authority has put into place that really spells out the kind of growth or the businesses that we need to attract and bringing higher wages. So if you haven't looked at that, I do encourage you all to go and look at that strategic plan. But if you're elected, what do you believe that the role of the Board of Commission is in guiding the growth in Dawson County? Where would be the ideal location for growth? Don't forget residential. We want residential and commercial. And we're going to start with Alexa.
Okay. So we adopted a future land use map, which is our comp plan, and the role of that, the reason that we have it is to say where growth should be. It's what is zoned and what will be future zoned for that area. So basically it shows a lot of commercial growth at the 400 corridor. It's the road in our county, the highway system that can carry and allow for commercial growth, that can allow for the traffic that comes with that growth. As far as residential growth, we've all seen a lot of residential growth around the 400 corridor as well. I think that we're in a position now where we can slow the growth of residential communities, at least dense communities at the 400 corridor. But I really think that we have to follow our future land use map. We have to follow that comp plan, because if not, it gets us into trouble. If we don't follow the comp plan, and we refuse a zoning or we decline a zoning, they will come back and they will sue us, and they will win, and then that's your taxpayer dollars out the window. And then they come back, and because they won, not only is it your taxpayer dollars out the window, but they also get to come where they came. So then it's just a matter of your money gone for no reason. That is why the comp plan is there. That is what keeps us where growth should be. And if we don't like the comp plan, then we need to get with long-range planning, or we need to get with planning and development, and we need to come up with a better system to get the citizens involved to update that comp plan, to accommodate what the citizens and what the Board of Commissioners think are best for this community. Otherwise, it's null and void. If we don't follow that, we're not using a system that we chose as citizens and Board of Commissioners to adopt for a growth future for Dawson County.
So I actually sat on the ARC, which is the Atlanta Regional Commission, back in the 90s. I could say, well, I'm old, but you can look at me and see I'm much older than my opponent. But in the 90s, there was a discussion of 400 at that time. So the State Route 400, of course, was it ended up, the corridor all the way down 400 was set on a 25 to 30 year plan. Well, we've gone through that plan over the years. We are right now at Brownsbridge Road, from Brownsbridge Road up to 400. If you'll look at the long range plan, in order to have a bridge at 136 is where it would be a bridge in Dawson County. They're looking at 15 years down the road. So knowing these things, it's very important that you know what the state is also doing, the Georgia DOT, finding out exactly where we are on long-range plan. So knowing that I sat on that back in the 90s, I know exactly what the plan was. Since then, there's definitely been changes, but it's very important for us to know the growth and long-range plan for Dawson County. The 400 corridor definitely is going to be grown up. I mean, we all know that there's going to be growth there, but it needs to be smart, balanced growth of what we have in our county to help with our citizens. And it's very important for our safety as well.
Could you repeat that question?
I'm going to try to cut off all the fluff. If elected, what do you believe the BOC's role is in guiding the growth in Dawson County? Where would be the ideal location for the growth? Please include residential and commercial.
So I think they both kind of hit on it. So the strategic plan and the future land map use kind of lays out where the growth will occur. And like Alexa said, if we vote no on an area that is zoned for a specific reason, then we're losing taxpayer dollars in a lawsuit, and they still get to build exactly what they wanted to build where they wanted to build it. So to me, we have to work with not only the strategic planning, the development authority, but also developers as they come in here. They're not all bad guys. Growth is going to occur. We have to have strategic growth. I kind of think about it like a red-billed oxpecker. If you don't know what that is, that's the little oxpecker that rides on the back of a rhinoceros. And so they sit there and they peck off the ticks and the fleas and the larvae off these wounds on rhinoceros. And so if you think about it like, oh, well, they're creating sores on them, but actually they're actually taking off some of the bad things on them. But also in recent years, they've actually determined that they actually alert the rhinoceroses that there are poachers approaching them. Rhinoceroses have terrible vision. So as board members, I feel like it's crucial to work with these developers and ensuring that we have a mutualistic benefit from whatever is going to be developed and what's coming down the road. We can't just say no to all this growth. I know the 400 corridor is definitely exploding right now currently, but like Alexa said earlier, live, work, play, we need more work. Yes, we have some retail and some restaurants, but we need more commercialized growth here.
Question 5. As I'm sure you all are aware, Dawson County is very fortunate to have a healthy sales tax base due to our local retail industries. This has provided the citizens many assets we enjoy today due to the dollars that we receive from the sales tax, including our ambulances, fire trucks, parks, many of those have been mentioned here today. What do you see are the most pressing needs for capital projects in the county?
Well, I guess I could say it one more time. Our EMS is very important. The East Lost is a great, I think the fact that we have the outlet mall, and a lot of people come to Dawson County for the outlet mall to visit, and they're paying some of the taxes, and East Lost comes from that. I think it's awesome. So, of course, I would hope to see that the East Lost stays in place, but with that money, I believe, because still again, if we had a hospital here, I would feel I would be fine with fewer ambulances, but I am not. Another thing that has been mentioned here as well is lawsuits on the county, paying that money being a problem and that going out. You get a good attorney and you're not going to be sued because right now the safety of Dawson County citizens is the most important. We do not have enough ambulances in our county. They cannot sue the county if you're actually voting for the safety of your citizens. And your attorney can actually look at that. If it's a good attorney, they will not sue the county. They cannot sue the county for that fact.
So I did kind of hit on emergency services earlier and how crucial that is, and we don't really see how important it is until you're in need. So the SPLOST, and we talked about that a little bit yesterday, that SPLOST money is so crucial. Yes, it cannot pay salaries, but we can definitely get equipment out of it. And using that to get the equipment that is the most crucial in need at the time. I love having a fire station right beside my house. That Station 8 that just came about. Thank you all so much, Sharon and Billy, for that. That is beautiful and great use because that was a section of the community that was in need. It definitely, I see them going by all the time, and I don't mind the sirens at all because I just think about how good it is to have that emergency services on that end of the county so readily available. And so using that SPLOST money that was talked about a little bit, to continue to develop those emergency services in areas that are in need. If it is more ambulances at the time, then absolutely we need more ambulances. But whatever the case is at the given moment, to provide those emergency services for this community so that if you are in need, it's available and that we have the best resources available for those emergency services employees.
So as Deanna said, I'm going to say it again as well. Emergency services, that seems to be a big one. Sheriff's Department, safety of our citizens and of our county is obviously the #1 priority because if we don't have safety and we don't have those services, we don't have anything else in this county. However, with the 4 ambulances that we have and the 1 in reserve, as well as getting the 2 additional ones, and like they both mentioned, SPLOST is huge for this county. It provides vehicles for the Sheriff's Department. It provides ambulances, tenders, ladder trucks, fire trucks, all of that stuff for fire and EMS, as well as equipment for the roads department. We keep talking about infrastructure. Well, in order to expand those roads, in order to do what we need to do, we need equipment in the roads department, and that SPLOST provides that for public works as well. Another big area is the Park and Rec. Park and Rec is literally busting at the seams. Talked to Matt Payne, the director of Park and Rec, a couple of times, and they have impact fees. They have money and impact fees for a new park. So with impact fees with the roads department, all you can do is do FDR and widening. With the fire station, you can potentially put impact fees towards a fire station, but with Park and Rec, you can use impact fees for so many things, and they get a very large component of impact fees as growth comes in, both residential and commercial. So those are two huge areas, safety and our Park and Rec. We cannot forget about our children and how Park and Rec really provides for them. It keeps them busy, it keeps teamwork going, it keeps their mind focused on things that are good, and we can provide that for them in this county. I think that's a huge component. We don't need to forget it.
Thank you. Yes, he will be next. We're halfway. Question 6. Our road infrastructure has came up several times tonight, and of course it's very important for the future of our community. So what would your long-range transportation plan look like for Dawson County?
Well, I definitely hope we don't get to the point to needing MARTA anytime soon. But as new developments occur, as new commercial developments occur, residential developments occur, we do have to improve these roads. If I see another roundabout in Dawson County, my head might spin. If we can just figure out, if everybody can just figure out when it's their time to go, it'll be a little bit better. But developing the roads, improving the roads that are there, I drive a lot. And so I go down a lot of roads that aren't necessarily traveled as much. There are still a lot of roads in this community that are in need. But I really don't think we're going to need any kind of bus transport in the long term, as far as I can see. We would have to get a lot more commercial development in order to need that, to get people to and from those commercial buildings. But just improving upon the roads that we have here, I think, is the most important, crucial part as far as the long-term plan goes for transportation.
I think that, again, I come from Public Works, so as far as the roads are concerned, I think that they are a big deal. Obviously, it's how we get from A to B. I think the biggest thing is we have a lot of state highways that come through our county. We have 136, we have 183, 53, 9, 400. That is a lot of state roads. So one, I think the part of that transportation plan is going to be to have a really good relationship with Georgia Department of Transportation. In the past, the Public Works Department, I can't speak for them now, but in the past, the Public Works Department, along with the commissioners, have always had a really good relationship with GDOT. And that, believe it or not, helps things. To know who you're talking to know who to go to for certain things, it can help escalate some of the issues that we see here, and kind of move those things to a priority. Knowing who to go to for traffic studies, et cetera, as well as using the funds that you can that are available to us in our county with Public Works. So again, SPLOST is a huge one. It pays for FDR. LMIG. LMIG is Local Maintenance Improvement Grant. The state gives us money, and all we have to do is match 30%. So a lot of that funding is given to us, and the county only has to use budget to match 30% of it. It's usually around $530,000-ish, depending on what they give for the year. That is a lot of resurfacing. That's a lot of widening. That's turning in necessary turning lanes. They give emergency LMIGs, which are for striping, which is for signals, for stop signs, all of the things that we have been talking about as far as safety and as far as the infrastructure of this county. Those grants provide that for this county, and I think that it's very important that we continue with those and that we look at other grants that will allow us to continue to build the infrastructure in this county.
So this past year, we had an option to vote for T-SPLOST, and it didn't pass here in the county. T-SPLOST, actually, I'm not for more taxes, but if people are actually going to our outlet mall, our restaurants, and actually able to put into T-SPLOST, and it helps our county, that would be a growth spurt for our revenue, so that way we could actually work with, have more roads, have more, the intersections, it seems like we just need more help. I actually sat down and listened to Kevin Tanner. Y'all probably know who he is. I listened to him for an hour today talk about Forsyth. I feel like we have to work with our other counties around. We have to work with Hall, Lumpkin, Forsyth. So sitting down with the leaders of those counties as well to see what they're doing and see where we need to be. If they're putting in MARTA and Forsyth, we need to know what's going on. We need to know where our county falls. Right now, it'd be great just to have Uber drivers in Dawson County. I've heard that numerous times that people said they would just love to have more Uber drivers in Dawson County. I know that's not long term, but it actually helps with transportation. So whatever we could do in regards to that, that would be helpful for state and local.
So we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about housing. And what type of housing do you feel we need and as Dawson County continues to grow, how you would promote it? But also, the Development Authority of Dawson County also did a master trail plan, which our current commission did adopt as our county trail plan. So I'd like to hear from you as well as these housing, whatever type of housing you want to come in. How do we entice developers to tie into that trail plan, because it is a long-term plan as well, to help us fulfill that, because we are a beautiful county that in a greenway system would be phenomenal. So how would you entice developers or homeowners or those building homes to tap into our trails?
Who was starting this one?
You are.
I am. Okay, perfect. So I am not as familiar with the trail system. I think that's awesome, though. Good job, Billy.
It's on our website if y'all.
Okay, good to know. So I think that the type of housing we need, we're seeing a lot of dense residential communities right now. And I think that those are probably needed, and I think that they're good for few of them. I think that we probably need to slow down the growth on the dense community, the residential communities here in Dawson County, because that is what brings in so much growth at one time. You know, you have a community of so many houses, and then you have this spurt of new people, which I'm all for new people. Again, I think that it's awesome to see people coming to a county that we love so much. But in order to kind of slow that down, I think we need to see less dense neighborhoods. And in order to see less, or when you see less dense neighborhoods, I don't know how you would necessarily tie that to a trail system, but they could create trail systems within their neighborhoods that connect to the outlying trail systems. I don't really know the answer to that. I don't know the best answer to go, but I do think as far as residential growth, we need to slow down the dense communities that we have coming into the 400 corridor specifically. You're not going to see them much out Seth's way, which I hope we continue to see, so that we can preserve the farmland and agriculture. But as far as the trail systems, I don't know. I don't know how you would incorporate that, but I think trail systems are awesome. I'm all about any type of park and rec. I'm all about preserving any type of park system that we have here. Amicalola, Sharon Fawcett has the horse trails up at her area. I mean, anything like that. I think the Bobcat, Wildcat Trail, I think that is very cool in District 1. So anything we can do to preserve any type of trail and to involve our community more so with that would be an excellent idea. Maybe you have something better to offer.
Actually, listening to Kevin Tanner today, they are doing the green trail through Forsyth County. So why would we go out and do it right away? Why not watch and see what they're doing? Learn from them, learn what they've done, learn what not to do, and see where we need to be. In reference to the housing, I am pro single family housing, but we need to back up just a little bit, a couple of years. In reference to apartments, I've talked before, I feel like we have enough apartments. I am not against apartments. My daughter lives in one. She's in law school in Birmingham. She lives in an apartment herself. I'm not against apartments. What it is you have a small area where you have multi-families. Well, it's going to impact our schools, it's going to impact our roads and traffic our EMS and our sheriff's department as well, our infrastructure in that. So in reference to growth on small single unit houses is what I had rather see, but I still want us to back up a little bit and slow down. Again, I would say a moratorium.
So you and I kind of hit on this yesterday. So I drive through the areas of Alpharetta and Milton a lot, and it's so amazing to me to see houses on, have 1, 2, 3 acres lots with a house, sometimes even 5-acre lots. So I would love to see us incorporate some of that into this community rather than being the 3 houses an acre. We have had a lot of exponential growth in that R3 area, and how you attract them it's not, I don't know that there's a right way to do that, but seeing how beautiful you can keep areas and still populate them at the same time, just at a little bit slower rate. That area to me is just absolutely beautiful. And to be able to have a yard for your dog, for whatever the case may be. In my scenario, I see a lot of goats in these houses in Milton. It's crazy to me that you live in a $2 million house and have goats there, but to each their own. Getting some of that growth there in a little bit slower rate, I think that's beautiful. I mean, you still see the growth as far as the houses go, but you also just still have some green space in and around those houses rather than seeing your neighbor right beside you and you can almost reach out and touch their house. As far as green space goes, when I was in Athens, there's some beautiful green space there, and we would go run on that. And I think that's an amazing opportunity that we have here, and having some land here. Maybe that is something that we could work with Dawson Forest and the city of Atlanta on. I don't know if could be done, but that's an area where we might be able to utilize some land that it doesn't have a ton of use right now outside of hunting and fishing and trail riding. But.
Question 8. To what extent have you been involved with local government in the past? And more specifically, how have you been involved in Dawson County government?
So local government in Douglas County, I never ran for anything, mostly because I was busy raising my 2 daughters and working a full-time job. I always was very, very, very involved with the Republican Party. I was a delegate in Douglas County as well, and represented the county at different, for the precinct, to go and vote on different issues that may be troubling to the county or the district. That's where I actually have been involved and watched more as far as the conservative type of, as far as leadership. I was involved with the high school in Douglas County. I sat on the advisory board, and I will tell you that I don't sit back and just let things go. I ask questions. I ask numerous questions. During that process, we actually found, I don't know how you lose, but we found $15 million at the Board of Education, and were able to get that money put back into the Board of Education. Again, I don't know how you lose $15 million, but we did find $15 million. So working with that, it was, I wasn't working with the Board of Education. I was actually working with some outsiders to try to find out what was going on. So I do ask a lot of questions all the time, ask many questions.
So since I've only been back living full-time in Dawson County since 2018, I have not had really any kind of true involvement with the local government, especially Dawson County. But since 2020, I have been serving on the Dawson County High School Governance Council Committee. That may only be because Miss Negley thought I might sue them after I got ran over by a cow. As I was trying to help the local FFA there, a cow got loose and we had to sedate it and dart it. And I think the only reason she asked me was because she thought I might sue. But regardless, I have really enjoyed that and kind of getting to see the flip side of that. Outside of being involved with that, I call Sharon once a month anytime I see there's something on the docket to be discussed that I'm curious about, to see what's actually being discussed, what's being voted upon. I am very curious and always want to know more about what's going on in the county so that I can stay involved. So while I was not actively serving, I did serve, by calling her and asking her some tough questions so that she would have some tough questions, hopefully, to ask whenever they got into the meeting.
Again, I worked for Dawson County Public Works for 5 years, from 2016 to 2021, and I served as the assistant to the Public Works Department. I helped run the transfer station under David McKee. We have stormwater management under Public Works. GIS used to be under Public Works. It's since moved to IT. We have the roads department. We have project management. So a couple of the projects that we did, they worked on a lot of the wing walls. They did built the new senior center, or the new addition to the senior center. They did a lot of improvements at Veterans Memorial. So all of that fell under Public Works, and I was the assistant to Public Works. So I had a lot of involvement as far as that's concerned. And when you work in a small county government, you have a lot of involvement in multiple departments as is, which is actually it was a neat opportunity. I was involved a lot with Park and Rec. I helped a lot out at the senior center. And when we were in the courthouse before we moved to our new location, I actually got the opportunity to work with HR some when it was a little bit short-staffed, with finance. So I've worked in a lot of the departments in our local government, and I was also the SPLOS administrator assistant under David McKee when he was here. So between SPLOS and Public Works, it gave me ample opportunity to be involved in our local government and our community.
Question 9. Rezoning applications are a large part of what comes before the commission board every single month. What would your approach be to evaluating the land use applications, and what, in your view, are the factors that are most important to consider when doing so?
So first and foremost, I'm a child of God, and so with that comes, I can't make a decision without praying about it and feeling good about it when I lay my head down at night. And so with it, when it comes to rezoning, it has to fit the character of that area. And so if it doesn't fit the character of that area, so, let's take on mind to the county aside the residential agriculture. If somebody wanted to build a high development use area there, it does not fit the character of that area. And so if somebody wants to build apartment complexes on Highway 9 outside of the city, that doesn't fit that area. So when it comes to rezoning, at the end of the day, the most important thing to me in this life is my relationship with the Lord. And so I have to pray about it and ensure that I feel like not only am I doing what the constituents want done there or want approved or not approved, but also, as I pray, I have to make sure that I truly feel like that's what the Lord is leading me to either approve the zoning or disapprove the zoning.
Will you ask it one more time, please?
Alexa, you actually go next.
Oh, I am? Okay. Sorry. Can you ask it one more time?
Sure. Let me make sure I didn't mess it up. Yes. Okay. What would your approach be to evaluating the land use applications, and what, in your view, are the factors that are most important to consider when doing so?
So I'll have to echo Seth. I am also a believer, and I have always said since before running this campaign and during the campaign, I've said that, if you can vote on something, you can't please everybody, and you're not going to as hard as you try. So if you can do your best, you can listen to your constituents, you can communicate, and you can really hear them. Stop talking for a moment and just hear them. And but also, so some of this is a catch-22. So if you can also follow the future land use map that I discussed earlier, so that we don't get our citizens in a bind later with their taxpayer dollars that are all very precious to us. If you can lay your head down at night and say that you tried your best and you feel like you made the most ethical decision, then I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, that's number one priority for me, for sure. However, again, I think that if you look at the future land use map and you show what the future land use map is, what we adopted to tell our citizens, hey, this is what is allowed where. If we can follow that and stop steering away from it, it won't get us in a bind. We won't we won't waste the citizens' dollars. Then that's the next priority, is to follow that land use map so that we stay on the right track for growth in this county, so we're not getting ahead of ourselves, so that we're not wasting your money, so that we're not allowing for growth that is unexpected, that we can't control, growth that we can't provide infrastructure for. I think that would be the second and third priority for sure.
So I actually feel like one of the biggest things is listening to your constituents, just like they said. But one of the feelings that I have is going to that area, even though it may have been, it's just like what we were talking about in reference to the mixed use development, Fox Creek, that's going in, or is to be voted on next month. What I'd like to see is our commissioners actually go to where they're putting up the back gates, talk to those constituents. How is it going to affect that neighborhood? Those are the things that I see could be a problem, and if I could help with my constituents in that direction, going there to see what they're going to have to deal with is extremely important. I just feel like overall we don't listen to who is putting us into our seat at the time. That's the person that I want to be, is listening to the people that put me there. I'm going to try to find out what you want in order to do what is best for the area and the district.
Question 10. What does your ideal Dawson County look like? And how would you overcome any resistance to get there?
So my ideal Dawson County is probably about 15 years ago. And I don't think we're going to get there. I think we have passed that. But when I moved to Dawson County when I was 10 years old, I'm like Seth, it was, and I'm older, so even more so, nothing here. But I remember the outlet mall being here. I remember when Home Depot came. I remember when Chick-fil-A and Longhorns and Walmart opened. And so my ideal Dawson County would be before that. But I think that I like going to eat with my family. I like the idea of a work, live, play community. To not have to go to and spend money in other counties. I think that it would be a benefit to have small business, retail, fun stuff for your kids here. I think that it would be nice to have some restaurants that aren't chains. So I don't think we can go backwards. So my ideal Dawson County has passed, but I'm still here, which means it's still a place I want to call home. It's still a beautiful community with amazing people. It still has tons of potential for the type of growth that I think that we all want to see here. And that's, again, small business, things that can thrive when the economy crashes. And that would be us keeping them afloat. It would be a good park and rec system where our kids can have multiple parks to go and to play, where I can take my child, 2 minutes from my home so that we can learn to ride a bike. Because even though she's 6, we're not there yet, and that's okay. But there is nothing that will stop me from getting there. This is my home, this is my town, and we will do what we have to do and do that for however many terms that we have to run to get those things accomplished. I don't know who's next. It confused me in the middle.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so my perfect world
Ideal Dawson County?
Of Dawson County. Honestly, when we moved here 5 years ago, it was perfect. I do not have a problem with what's here now. I just want us to slow down. It's probably the perfect place for me, and one of my tennis, or a couple of my tennis friends are here, would be maybe build a huge indoor tennis complex where we can play when it doesn't rain. So, or when it is raining, so we can still play inside. It's very important to me to look at things like that that will broaden the activities that we can do as Dawson County citizens. What we can do here. I did speak to some 25-year-olds a few weeks ago, and I asked them, they were going down to Topgolf to play, and I said, hey, I just wanted to know their opinion. How would you like it if we put a Topgolf here? And they said, no, we don't want anything else here. We're tired of the growth. We're going to draw a line on 400. We don't want any more. So I feel like it's so important to ask the constituents what we want in order to make it perfect for Dawson County. I'm happy. I'm very happy. We love our community. Many of my neighbors are here tonight. We love where we live, but we want to keep it small. Just keep Dawson County small, yet smart, balanced growth.
So I'm going to take a little different perspective. My ideal Dawson County would be all of the restaurants and everything that we have right now, but about half the cars, because I hate that it takes me 15 minutes to get from the new Kroger all the way down to where Outdoor Traditions used to be. But in reality, they've kind of hit on it. Another park would be phenomenal. Adding that other dimension to have a park down here. I know there is potentially a new park going in on my end of the county as well down the road, a little bit longer term. But I have the luxury of being able to leave 400 in my rearview mirror when I go home at night and lay my head down. And I love the fact that I can still go home and I can still don't see the lights, but I can still look up and see the moon and the stars. And so my ideal Dawson County is, I love the fact that we are still one Dawson currently. And for those of you that don't know exactly what that means, is we still have one high school rather than splitting. And so my ideal Dawson County is just being able to continue that for as long as possible. I hope that my son gets to graduate from the same high school, maybe a new building, but from Dawson County High School, and not being a split high school at that point.
You're ready for each candidate for their closing statement. And just a reminder, you will have 2 minutes. And Deanna, you will start us off.
Okay, I'm going to read again so I can read faster. As a reminder, I've been a Republican conservative all of my life. I didn't just join the party this month. I'm not in this race for some type of revenge on the county. I'm in it for the tax-paying citizens of Dawson County. What I have that my opponent doesn't have is life experience. I am uniquely qualified. I've watched government sell their county out to developers. I've watched the crime increase. I've experienced traffic nightmares in other counties in Georgia, and I don't want it here in Dawson County. As your commissioner, I will not be a yes person. I will listen to you, the taxpayers, and seek to find positive, balanced growth. But before growth, our infrastructure needs to be in place, fully functional, which includes more emergency transportation and fire units, repairing existing road issues, more schools and teachers and law enforcement officers. Don't Fulton County my Dawson County, and yes, I said it. Vote Dickinson for Dawson. I'd like to end with something very important to me. Our county and leaders need prayer. Will you please join me in saying the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I would also like to meet you all individually. Please join me this Friday at Papa's Place for coffee from 9 to 10. Thank you, and God bless.
First off, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today, taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and hear this discussion, debate, whatever you would have it. As a lifelong member of Dawson County, I just want to try to keep Dawson County beautiful. I love that slogan, keep Dawson County beautiful. And as I was kind of looking back through some history, Dawson County was founded in December 3rd of 1857. In 1857, they had no clue what Dawson County would be today, or that we would have a population in the 2020 census of 26,000, almost 27,000. But when I was looking back at William Crosby Dawson, that Dawson County was named after, he was known as, by many, as the first gentleman of Georgia. And the word that kept reiterating in everything that I read about him was kindness. Kindness. In today's day and age, we live in a world of social media and fast-paced speed. I would love for us just to slow down a little bit, and before you get on social media and choose somebody out or fuss somebody out, let's get to know this person. There is another individual on the other side of the computer. And because Dawson County was named after William Crosby, and the word kindness continued to reiterate throughout everything I read about him, I hope that I continue to display that same kind of kindness to all the constituents, as I hope to get to meet you over the next coming years.
So I also want to say thank you to all of you for being here. I know that it's a lot to come and do this on a Wednesday night to support your candidates or future candidates or future commissioners. So I definitely appreciate you all being here. It means a lot to each of us. To quote one of our current commissioners, Sharon Fawcett, she said, "Regarding service, I really don't like it when people call me a politician. We are truly public servants, and this will ring so true for anyone in the role as a county commissioner. I have felt and still feel at times it's a responsibility so heavy that I might collapse." So this is a responsibility so heavy, and yet we're each eager and willing to take it on. I hear and see your demands and the demands of this county, but even so, it would be an honor to have the potential to serve each of you, both citizens and employees of Dawson County. I would say that I was overwhelmed at the support thus far. However, that's what makes this community so special. Like he just said, it's built on kindness. That's how it started, and I hope that's how it continues. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to serving you. And again, I appreciate you all being here tonight. It's been an honor to be here and to be able to answer questions and to talk in front of you. And thank you to Seth and Deanna.
Please join me in a round of applause for our candidates. A big thank you to our Chamber Advocacy Committee and all of the media partners that submitted questions for tonight's forum. And a big thank you to our candidates. It is a very, very big job, and thank you for your willingness to serve this community. A few reminders before you depart. The last day to register to vote, I'll check your voter registration card on the way out, is Monday, April 25th. Advance voting begins Monday, May 2nd, and then Election Day is May 24th. You can also view this forum. It'll be on our Facebook page and our YouTube page, Dawson County Chamber. We ask you to encourage everyone you know in Dawson County to vote, and to vote for the candidate that you believe supports the needs and the issues of our local business community. Thank you for coming this evening, and drive safe.
Hey, can I add one thing? Just so you all know, because this is something I'm finding people don't know, you can vote cross-district. So just because the candidate you want to vote for is not in your district, you are still able to vote for that candidate. So just keep that in mind.
Please vote for one of the candidates. Thank you all very much.